Imagine waking up to a world impossibly quiet, where every familiar sound of civilization has hushed into oblivion. No distant traffic, no hum or chatter, no movement besides the wind, the birds, and whatever stray animals now roam freely. As consciousness dawns, so too does the singular, shocking realization. You are alone. Utterly, completely, the last person on Earth. This scenario, heavy with finality and wonder, is often explored in fiction, inspiring awe, panic, hope, and despair, depending on the storyteller and the listener. But what if it happened to you? What if, for reasons unknown, you became the last heartbeat in a world built by billions? The first day would be a whirlwind of sensations. At first, confusion might reign. Where is everyone? You'd likely wander your home, calling out, checking phones, televisions, radios, seeking proof of life outside your own. Technology would still work for a while. There would be TV shows rerunning, satellite signals beaming, maybe even echoes of the internet. But nothing new, nothing live. Even as you attempt to call or text, your messages go unanswered. The weight of realization settles deeper. You might step outside. The morning air would seem hyper-real, brighter, sharper. Sunlight, free of human pollution and bustle, might feel gentler, purer. The quiet could be glorious or oppressive. Wherever you look, every house and car and shop stands, as if waiting. Yet no one appears. Streets are empty, parks abandoned. Only the animals, reserved, watchful, confused at the lack of human presence, would venture out. Your first tasks would be instinctive. Is this some weird accident? You might head across your town or city, searching for any sign of life. What of mass transit? At airports, planes stand idle. Trains sit at unused stations. In time, you notice the absent smells and noises of humanity. No exhaust, no fast food, no perfume, no laughter or argument. The world feels hollow but strangely open, as if the rules have loosened. By the second day, primal necessities would come to the fore: food, water, shelter. In your own home, water would still flow, electricity would work, though perhaps not indefinitely. Refrigerators keep food cold. You might raid your pantry, then perhaps venture to a local store for supplies. There would be enough to sustain you for months, years even. Supermarkets, convenience stores, warehouses, all now unlocked, filled with what you need, theirs for the taking. Almost immediately, you are freed from every conventional rule. Money? Irrelevant. Property lines? Non-existent. If you wish to move into a mansion, you can. Want to drive the world's rarest car? Wander museums in solitude? Wear the crown jewels? Nothing stops you. The notion of ownership fades, replaced with pragmatic choices about comfort, safety, and desire. But soon, the psychological journey truly begins. The absence of people asserts itself not just as a curiosity, but as a reality. Every book and movie and artifact you encounter was made by someone, for someone. Now, you are both creator and audience. When you speak, it is only your ears that can hear. The only company is the echo of your own thoughts. The first real challenge, then, is not physical survival, but emotional endurance. Solitude, for a few hours or even a day, can be pleasant, restorative. But days stretch into weeks. Familiar places become reminders. This was once a lively cafe. That was a school bustling with laughter. These streets held dreams and dramas. Now, you alone are the witness. Loneliness is the hazard most likely to gnaw at your resolve. Humans are social by nature, incomplete perhaps, without interaction and validation. The absence of conversation, touch, even casual eye contact begins to bite. You might find yourself imagining voices. Perhaps you speak aloud, pretend others are still around. Maybe you keep a diary or a video log. You might write letters to lost friends, talk to pets if any appear, or even invent imaginary companions. Practical concerns soon mount. Electricity flows, but for how long? Power stations need people to run. Some energy grids might run for weeks or months, automated to some extent. But eventually, fuel runs out. Wear or wind or storm disables key links, and the lifeblood of your electric world starts to flicker. No more streaming, no more lights at the flick of a switch. Batteries provide a temporary reprieve. Gasoline allows cars, but not forever. Food in cans and jars lasts a while. But fresh produce, milk, bread, these perish in days. You raid stores, perhaps soon learn to garden, forage, or hunt. The skills needed for long-term survival replace whatever roles you once held. Are you a doctor, a chef, an engineer? It hardly matters now. Learning new talents is no longer a hobby, but a matter of persistence. You'd have to figure out water, too. Without purification plants or running reservoirs, clean drinking water becomes critical. Maybe you find lakes, collect rainwater, use chemicals or filters from camping stores. As months pass, you develop ingenuity, combining the relics of civilization with your own resourcefulness. But even survival is not enough. The heart longs for more than bread and water. You seek meaning, purpose. You turn to books, art, music, podcasts, recordings from the vanished billions. Libraries become sanctuaries, museums and theaters, places to lose yourself in the beauty of what was made. Every painting, every song, every sculpture now exists for your eyes only. Each one a whispered reminder, you are the last witness. Perhaps you travel, unfettered by schedules or expense. Do you want to see the Eiffel Tower at midnight, climb the peaks of the Andes, walk the silent alleys of ancient cities? The world is yours to explore, and perhaps this distracts from the loneliness for a time. You marvel at wild places now returning, forests, prairies, fields untamed by mowing and fencing. Animals become bolder, deer amble into suburbs, foxes and packs of dogs, maybe even bears, return to urban streets. Without humanity, ecosystems change. Yet every journey you take is without witness and without return. There are no photos shared, no voice on the line to exclaim in delight, no hand to hold at the summit. You begin narratives in your mind to fill the silence. Maybe you talk constantly, or invent an audience, or personify every creature you meet. Your mind adapts, or phrase, however it can. The seasons change. Winter might bring new perils. With no one tending to heat, you must learn to build fires, seek shelter, patch roofs, fortify windows. Summer might mean handling drought, wildfires, or heat waves. If you become ill or injured, there is no doctor to call, no help to summon. You rely on first aid kits, medical textbooks, instinct, luck. After a year, nature has made real inroads into cities. Vines crawl up abandoned towers. Roots split roads. Grass grows in manicured parks, now lush and untamed. Animals are everywhere: squirrels, songbirds, raccoons, rodents. Perhaps you adopt a dog, a cat, or even a horse as a companion, untamed to the company of humans for centuries. Your relationship with pets becomes precious, perhaps the last echo of the companionship you've lost. Maybe you stake out a home base, one secure and familiar. Or perhaps you are restless, a wanderer seeking novelty, moving from place to place. You might develop rituals for each day: scavenging, repairs, reading, writing, explorations. These give shape to a life otherwise unmoored by expectations. But through it all, you grapple with existential questions. Why me? Was this fate, accident, punishment, miracle? If there is a higher power, what is their intent? Are you being tested? Are you a final observer, left to record, or merely the last echo of a failing world? You journal or record your observations, perhaps in the hope that, someday, another will find them, or simply for the act itself. Despair might come. Days with no project or purpose could stretch intolerably. You may sleep longer, drift through memories, find odd solace in old family photos, treasured belongings, comforting objects. You may cry often, rage at the sky, plead for company. At times, irrational hopes bloom. You check corners for someone else, leave signs for a fellow survivor you know will never arrive. By now, nature's reclamation has accelerated. Cities without constant maintenance decay. Streets crack, bridges fall, windows shatter. Fires unopposed by firefighters burn unchecked. Wildlife multiplies. Without human intervention, domesticated animals suffer or revert to wild ways. The world's shape shifts back toward the wild, interrupted only by your lone march through its changing landscapes. If you persevere, you become both hermit and king. All the world's knowledge is yours, in libraries and hard drives and notebooks. You have no one to teach, but you can acquire every skill. You make art for your eyes, music for your ears. You construct monuments to the lost, rituals that matter only to you. You become, essentially, the last civilization, a single-person society. Loneliness bears down. Most people require contact. Lacking it, some invent regular conversations, with photos, with statues, with written notes. You may play all roles in a meal, setting plates and making toasts to imaginary guests. You invent holidays, mark time, create interests and rules. You might set impossible goals, planting an apple orchard, painting every wall in a city, learning 10 languages. You set challenges and rewards, invent games, create mythologies. Over years, you might slowly surrender to the routines of survival. Celebration and despair mingle. Perhaps you forget the precise year, marking only seasons. You reminisce about lost voices, or perhaps find peace in the quiet, dependent on your temperament, resilience, and adaptation. Gradually, humanity's traces fade. Skyscrapers crumble after storms and freeze-thaw cycles. Roadways crack, cars fill with plants, harbors silt over. Wildlife dominates. The world becomes quieter still, but richer with natural music, rushing water, bird calls, wind through the unruly trees. Some domesticated species perish, others go wild. Given enough time, even your tools and technologies fail. Plastics break down, motors rust. Only a select few human monuments persist for centuries. Stone, some metals, ruins, legacies to be discovered or ignored by whatever intelligent life might arise next. And what of you? With no one left but yourself, you are both observer and participant in the world's last human chapter. Your musings no longer matter to society, but to you alone. You are the last argument for the human project, the last experiment of meaning. Whatever beliefs you had about the universe, spiritual, scientific, philosophical, are tested by absolute solitude. But it's not all bleakness. Some would find intense beauty in this solitude. Freed from expectation and competition, you can finish every book you ever meant to read. You can reflect developing new art and redefining what it means to be human. Freed from culture's gaze, you invent new customs merely for your own pleasure. Some might find spiritual revelation in their aloneness, a sense of connection beyond what mere society could offer. You become not just the last of humanity, but humanity itself. All our dreams, ideas, flaws, hopes, triumphs, and regrets embodied in one. Your choices, no matter how trivial, are humanity's last. Every sunrise is your celebration. Every storm, your challenge. The world is both friend and adversary, both cradle and tomb. And yet, hope often emerges from the most barren of soils. You may begin to chronicle your experiences, creating records for a future that may never come, unwilling to let human story fade without a witness. You carve your story into stone, record video diaries, fill notebooks with memories, instructions, dreams. If someday, by chance, another arrives, through anomaly, time, or new birth, they may find your record and know they were not the very first, nor the very last. Or perhaps, someday, you find evidence, distant smoke, fresh footprints, a sign in a window. Fraught with risk and longing, you search, half dreading disappointment, half yearning for relief from the solitude. Hope flares and flickers, but even if it's never realized, your search gives direction and meaning to life. Should you find another, the world suddenly expands. With two, there is conversation, collaboration, love, even argument. Then, the last person on Earth story becomes the first story, of rebuilding, of reconnecting, of starting anew. A flame from dying embers, humanity reborn of one and one. But if no one comes, then the last human story is also the most human, a testament to curiosity, resilience, hope, creativity, despair, beauty, and all the boundless contradictions of our species. In absolute solitude, you discover what it means to be not just a person, but humanity itself. Each morning, you decide again that life, however lonely, however strange, is worth living. And so, the world spins on. The sun rises over empty highways and silent suburbs. Birds greet you, the singular human. Rivers flow past ghostly cities. Somewhere, in a house kept against the wild, the last person on earth wakes, looks out, and steps into another day, last witness, last dreamer, last hope. The grandest adventures, the sharpest pains, the greatest joys all remain possible, contained in one final human heart. And perhaps, just perhaps, that is not the end, but a beginning rewritten, yours to imagine, yours to shape, yours to fill with meaning, as long as the sun and stars endure.